Hello everyone and welcome to the second and hopefully last video I'm using my phone for. For those of you who don't know, basically I clicked on a link thinking it was from Indiegogo and it turned out not to be, which yes, was very dumb, but because it was about sort of verifying things, it's one I'd kind of had before, so scammers are clever. That's what I will say. Scammers are clever and catching you off guard at the worst moment, so yeah, I'm facing a bill thanks to my own stupidity, but there you go. um, but yeah, what I'm talking about today is something I really wanted to talk about because I think the thing is, obviously, you love comic book films, love animation, but it's great to kind of branch out a bit and sort of try something different. And you don't get much more different than hundreds of beavers. Oh my goodness. So, for those of you who don't know, this is a low budget indie comedy. In effect, the best way I could describe it is a live action Looney Tunes cartoon, and it's done in the style of a silent film, but it also has video game references. Uh, Trust me, it makes sense when you watch it. And the plot is because it's kind of done in this very simple silent movie style with kind of in place of dialogue. Um, yeah, it's basically a trapper, has a incident that causes him to switch to this career, and he falls in love with the sort of the tradesperson's daughter, and in order to get the blessing from the tradesperson, he has to sort of work his way up essentially. And the film is nuts. It's only like an hour and a half long, but it's dense with running gags, slapstick, stupidity, and essentially like the thing they spent most of the budget on by the looks of it was mascot costumes. And I think probably a good thing too, because I think if this was like CGI animals or like, God forbid, like probably like, it wouldn't be real owls, but like it could come off as cruel. Whereas like this way, it comes off as it should do, i.e., this kind of absurd cartoon world where nothing quite makes sense, and like the way like the animals act is kind of weird and cartoony, and it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think obviously, like I say, some people, if they take it on face value, might be like, "Oh, I'm not sure about that." Like, "Oh, does it promote cruelty to animals?" It's like, and I don't think it does. I think it's too stupid for that. I don't think it's implying that sort of being violent to animals is fun. It's just like this is a really daft cartoon, and I think if you put it on that level, it's absolutely brilliant, and I love it. Um, I think if I was going to be really uber critical, it's a little slow to get started, but when it does, oh my goodness, the slapstick, the sort of the silly effects, and it's a good example. Like when people say, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that," like what they do with like basic effects technology is brilliant. Like that really clever thing of making a virtue of your limitations. I mean, it's inspired. It is absolutely inspired. I love it, and unlike a lot of people, I've kind of been beating the drum for this a bit, having seen it. And the great thing is that you couldn't like get this on YouTube for like 250. And I'll be honest with you, I was there last week. I was watching this, having a bag of sweets, and I had the best time. Like I would argue, probably even better than sometimes. Like don't get me wrong, I love going to the cinema. I think being in a cinema and sort of being part of a collective experience is wonderful, and you can't really substitute it. But in terms of quality of film, gotta say this is up there. This is up there with the best I've seen, and I really, really, really recommend it. Like I honestly, it's one of those things. I think if you're in a good mood, it'll be a fun thing to watch to kind of gee you along. If you're in a bad mood, it's lovely to cheer you up. And unless you're someone who really doesn't like slapstick comedy, then fair enough, don't watch this. But my goodness, so much fun. Also, a couple of classic films I've been watching recently. So I was around my brothers and I watched Easy Rider. Oh my goodness! Oh, classic. And the early sort of Jack Nicholson appearance where it's like, he was a superstar from the start. I mean, oh my goodness, amazing. But the soundtrack, the visuals, that kind of French New Wave, like around about the first time where they first discovered how to do jump cuts. I mean, jump cuts now are just standard film language, but seeing like them use it for the first time and sort of capturing the trippy airiness of the time and this kind of post 60s vibe is just done so well. Oh, love it. And the other one I watched last night was The Sting, which is like an all-time family favourite. Robert Redford, Paul Newman, Robert Shaw, who people might know better as Quint from Jaws. And here he plays this villain called Doyle Lonergan, who kills the best mate of Paul Newman's character, Johnny Hooker. And Paul Newman plays Henry Gondorff as the guy who, like, arranges this, like, revenge con, the titular Sting. And oh my goodness, like, every time I watch this, I see new things, I see new elements to it where, like, when you pick up on the cons and who's involved and how they work with each, oh, so good. Oh my goodness, it's up there with my all-time fave films. If you haven't seen it, I'd say give it a go. And oh my gosh, the Scott Joplin soundtrack, do 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 do. Yeah, I won't do any more because, well, I mean, it's going to be a long time since till we get to a phase where it really affects us. Apart from, I mean, the one thing that bothers me with YouTube, sorry to kind of get into a bit of a rant here, but it bothers me that we weren't able to get some of the Mrs. Zane videos up, or we had to sort of substitute them because of the whole copyright thing. Because the fun for me is like her sort of doing like the dances and stuff to the copyrighted material. And it's weird how sort of some stuff gets through and some doesn't. And I just want to say again to Mrs. Zane, absolutely phenomenal work. If you haven't seen her cosplay stuff, again, a reminder, backing us with like Indiegogo, etc. really helps us out. Yeah, as I said, I'm probably going to be posting this on Wednesday because, as I say, computer issues. But I just want to say a big, big thank you to everyone who makes this possible. You guys are all amazing. Much love. Bye.